Hi friends, welcome to A to Z Learning channel. Today we are bringing you this video where we will help you understand what is actually causing this inflation surge. Right now, whether you are in a social conversation, whether you are in an academic conversation, whether you are at the office, whether you're reading newspaper, or whether you are a regular buyer or seller in the market, the inflation, which is basically the pace at which the prices of all the products, services, commodities are going up is discussed. Everyone is discussing and talking about the pace at which the prices are going up. It's becoming unaffordable. It's a huge issue. So in this video, what we'll try to help you is what is suddenly causing this huge surge in the inflation, which is becoming a nightmare for everyone to digest, understand, and do something about it. So without any further delay, let's start our video. So first of all, let's understand what are the possible list of reasons behind this. So before I touch on the reasons, let's talk about what is inflation. Inflation, in simple terms, is basically the pace at which the prices are going up. If the pace becomes unmanageable, for example, in the Western world, the tolerant level is seen as about 2%, whereas in Indian context, it is seen more like 6%. So RBI, the central bank, is okay if the pace at which the prices are going up is at about 6% in India or 2% in the Western world. It is seen as a normal um, inflation, which is acceptable and which is what every business is prepared to deal with, every consumer is prepared to deal with. But the issue comes is when the inflation is much higher than that acceptable level. And right now, that is where the world is grappling. US or UK or some of the kind of Western world, inflation is double digit. Never heard of like that you'll have a inflation of a double digit in the recent past. Yeah, it used to exist 30, 50, 40 years ago. But in the recent past, people have absolutely no memory, no experience, no way of dealing with a double digit inflation in the Western world. India is no different. India has also seen the many years of very low inflation, but suddenly we are seeing the inflation going up. And though in the past people in India have seen 15%, 14%, 13% sort of kind of inflation, but again in the immediate past, this hasn't been the case. So there are many people who would experience this huge inflation for the very first time in their life. So let's discuss what are the reasons. I think the story probably best is to start from 2008 when there was a huge financial crisis, global financial crisis, and every central bank, every government around the world pumped in so much money by whether you call it quantitative easing, whether you call it giving money in the hands of people. Net, what was happening is basically to support the demand in the economy, people were given the money. Money was pumped in the economy in whatever way possible. And money was printed effectively. Money was printed so that people have money to continue to purchase, continue to buy the thing that need to buy, so that all the supply that existed in the global economic system, there was a demand for that supply to be bought. It all started 2008 because that was the need of the hour. Central banks had to support the economy so that demand and supply can continue, businesses can continue to run, businesses could continue to employ people, and employees can continue to kind of consume those products and services and therefore support the business. So that cycle was very important. So central bank started to support. At that time, I think thought process was that process of supporting demand will continue for a year, maybe two, but that process continued all the way up to now. So from 2008, to 2022. Maybe the pace reduced, but the process continued. Then the big issue of pandemic came in 2020, and that needed support from a demand side. So central banks had to up the ante to kind of continue to make sure that the people had the money in their hands to continue to purchase the goods and services. So that's all basically the money which didn't exist before was what printed and made available to support the demand so that there is businesses are able to continue to do their work. Then there is a second set of reasons which are more on the supply side. People talked about that the lockdown as a result of pandemic created a huge supply issue, and we know if we've recently in the process of buying a car, we know that the semiconductor issue is a huge issue, and the globally that has caused a huge disruption to the manufacturer's ability to produce enough cars or enough phones or enough laptops, because semiconductor is needed in everywhere and that supply was disrupted. Then you would recall about a year or so ago when a ship got stuck in the Middle East, where the whole which, got stuck in the middle of the pathway, which is the kind of heavily used for shipment of goods worldwide, and that caused disruption for a few weeks. Then there was a story also that number of containers that are needed to support for the goods to be supplied in the various part of the world, there was a shortage of that. And then more recently, the Ukraine war has kind of hugely disrupted Russia's ability to export the gas and the fuel, and also the wheat and the sunflower oil and things like that. And that has kind of added to the overall cost, because suddenly a big supply from Ukraine and Russia has disappeared or disrupted. Along with this, China is facing a surge in their COVID numbers, and therefore they had few cities which were under strict lockdown, and that caused the disruption to the supply chain. So so there are both sets of kind of reasons which are at play in terms of causing this surge. There are demand side as well as supply side reasons which are causing this. So what is the most probable cause for the sudden increase in the inflation now? I think there everybody has a view. In my opinion, and particularly my opinion is guided by the research that has been published by SBI's economics team, State Bank of India's research team, which looks quite probable to me, that if you start to study the kind of impact of fuel prices, impact of the food prices, and that kind of flowing into the kind of rest of the economy, uh, it's fair to say, based on that research, is that most of the inflation surge that people are experiencing right now is a direct result of Ukraine and Russia war. In terms of high level numbers, I think 60% of the inflation is caused by the disruptions as a result of Ukraine-Russia war. There are other reasons, demand side reasons and other kind of supply side issues which are causing the balance 40% um, of the inflation, but majority of this is a direct result of Ukraine-Russia war. So what can be done? What is central bank doing? What is RBI doing? And will it really curb the inflation? So what RBI or central banks around the world are doing is they are playing with the interest rates. I personally feel that that's a immediate effect of rate increases is going to deal with the demand. It will calm down the demand, and demand calming down will have some impact on the inflation. But as I said, if majority of this is as a result of war causing the disruption to the supply chain, then interest rate tinkering, interest rate increasing, which impacting the demand is not going to change much. So I personally feel that RBI or central banks, what they're trying to do, they're trying to do something so that they are seen to be doing something, but it will have very limited impact in my humble opinion. And that's the reason is very straightforward, because when the interest rates are increased, it uh, it basically slows down the demand. It slows down the demand in the immediate after effect, and that slowdown in the demand is also reflected by the companies which are producing those goods or services, to make sure that they adjust their production along with the in line with the demand, the new demand, which is slowed down demand, and that will impact. But if the war continues, the lockdown continues, the shortage of container continues, the ability for companies to transport the goods that have been manufactured, the supply side disruptions won't get much addressed through these interest rates. So therefore, as my conclusion is that overall the inflation, most of the inflation is a direct result of the Ukraine-Russia war. These interest rate rises will symbolically help. People will think that yes, something is being done, but it will have limited impact on this inflation. So that's my view. I would look forward to see what your thoughts are. If you think we've done a good job in terms of compiling this quick video and sharing with you the thought process and reference to the various research behind this inflation surge, then please do press the like button and let us know through your comments what you think about our content. If you have alternative views on this or a very different view on this, then also we would love to hear your comments on this video to know what you think about this. So please do share your comments on this video with us. And last but not least, a very quick small request. If you've not subscribed our channel A to Z Learning as yet, please do subscribe and become part of our viewers family. We we decide the future content of our videos based on the suggestions that are shared by the viewers. So if you become part of our viewers family, then you will have the ability to set the agenda for the future videos. So thank you so much for watching our video, and we look forward to your comments and suggestions on this video and your views on what is causing India's most inflation surge. So thank you so much for watching our video.